Good morning, Saxy. It's Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. Just a little at past 8:30. Good morning to everyone. Hope everyone's having a good morning so far and a good start to your week. Well, we got a lot going on in the weather, so let's just get right to it, shall we? Okay, so the current conditions at my house. Temperature 75, dew point 69, almost 70. Relative humidity is 82%. The wind's out of the east at 2 miles an hour. Barometric pressure is 29.93 inches and steady. And that makes it feel like 83. Now, I mentioned the last couple of mornings that the dew point's going to be creeping up, and it has started to do that. The last few mornings, the dew point's been in the mid to low 60s, really 69.8, but it's really, it might as well be 70. And that will continue to go up and make it more and more humid, and thus make it more and more uncomfortable. But there's hopefully a silver lining to that, and I'll get to that in just a second. So, as always, let's start with satellite picture here. This is for North Texas, of course, and as the sun comes up on our beautiful state, you can see pretty much nothing but crystal clear skies, just a few scattered clouds. Uh, you know, Across the state, most of the cloud cover you see is way down south near Galveston. Again, that's not necessarily associated with any tropical system, but just with the upper level jet stream, and there you go. But unfortunately, I think for Houston, their weather is going to change for the worst in the not too distant future. So we'll certainly get into that. All right, so let's go straight to the tropics because that's what everyone's talking about. So this is the latest satellite loop from the Gulf of Mexico, and you can point out if I can get my graphics to work here. You can point out the little circulation right there at the end. That is what's left of Marco. Marco is a storm that has no thunderstorms. It's just a circulation. So that's done. They've issued the last advisory on Marco, so that's really not going to be a factor in anybody's weather. And earlier in the week and this past weekend, you heard that we're going to have all these twin hurricanes in the Gulf and all that. And while that was certainly a possibility, the chances of that, at least from a climate standpoint, were pretty unlikely. And of course, that's what happened. Of course, so Marco is no more, and so now all eyes focus on Laura, which, as you can see from the satellite picture, has become quite a bit more organized this morning. You can start to see the classic counterclockwise swirl rotation, and just as of 7:15 this morning, it went from a tropical storm to a hurricane. So now it is Hurricane Laura. So this is something that's definitely going to have to keep an eye on. There's really two facets to this. Number one is if you live on the coast near Houston, Galveston, Louisiana border, definitely something to take seriously. The second part of that is for us. Hey, is it going to rain? And we have a better chance of rain than we did a couple days ago. It's still not great, but we're going to talk about that in a second. All right, so just in summary, this is the overall map of the Atlantic Ocean, Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean. And like I said, Marco, which has a little X there, that means it's a post-tropical cyclone, and it's done basically. That's the last advisory they'll issue on it. But if you're curious, it does have maximum sustained winds of 30 miles an hour. But you remember from the satellite, it doesn't have any storms with it. No rain. It's moving west at 10, so that's pretty much it for that. Now, like I said, Laura is the main weather story, and it will be the next couple of days. So as you can see here, right now, this now remember the National Hurricane Center, its model consensus, or the tracks it uses is a model consensus. In other words, it's an average of all the models. So what you see if you've maybe heard the term spaghetti plot, that's all the models put together. And so you see some models showing this path, you see some models showing this path, and really there are a couple that show it going this way. So the line at the National Hurricane Center is a blend of that, and that's why they use that so they can get just an average of models. Now, what we have seen the past couple of days is that this average model line, if you will, has tended to drift west, and so I would be not surprised at all if at the next advisory, which is 10 a.m., is you see that line move west. Now, it may not move that much west because they tend not to bite off on something that radical that soon. But don't be surprised. Now, if it does get to that point to where it does go further west, then obviously our rain chances are going to increase quite a bit. So That's something that we definitely want to keep an eye on. As far as the particulars, it is 75 miles an hour now. It's a hurricane, even though it says tropical storm alert. It is a hurricane, and this other thing I would point out is the M you see here is a designation for a major hurricane. That's Category 3. Right now, that's what it's forecast to be when it strikes the. If you go by this model, it strikes right at the Texas-Louisiana border, and that would not be good news at all. So it's something we definitely want to keep an eye on. As far as watches and warnings, you see a tropical storm watch for most of the eastern Louisiana coast, and then you see, hurricane watch. Tropical storm watch here, hurricane watch for areas west all the way to Galveston Bay. That will probably be upgraded to a hurricane warning later today. I would almost bet my life on that. So it'll be a hurricane warning pretty soon. So definitely getting serious down there. So now this other map I wanted to show you is right now the potential rainfall forecast. Now, as you can see, based on the path, of course, yes, anything in the yellow is over 4 inches. And again, just for reference, we're right there. So as you can see now again, this is the inch line, by the way. So this doesn't mean that because this particular map it's white doesn't mean it's not going to rain at all. It just means it's more scattered, and they don't expect an inch of rain in this area. Now, like I said before, though, if that track goes further west, then you'll see this whole rainfall forecast move west too, and that's good news for us. Nobody wants the devastation this is going to bring to anybody. We just would sure like the rain out of it, and hopefully that's what we'll get out of it. So that's the latest on the tropics, and just one quick little thing on Marco. This is the latest track projections for Marco, and like I said, Marco's it's done. Say goodbye to Marco. It's not going to be a factor in anything. So back to our weather just for a second. Again, the severe thunderstorm forecast for the country. We're still in the white here, so not much rain is expected. If you go to tomorrow's outlook, we do see that, hey, look at that. We're in the green. And then, of course, obviously by the coast, you get the slight risk. That's for tornado induced by hurricanes. That's mainly why you see that. Excuse me. And then, of course, on Thursday, same sort of thing. We're still in the green, but most of the rain, any tornado activity would be in Louisiana based on that track. Now, having said that, I think that's going to change. I think the track is going to go further west, and I think our rain chances are going to increase. So we shall see. So in that theme, like I said, today, another sunny day. It's going to be just like yesterday. It will be more humid, that's for sure. Now, tomorrow and Thursday, if that storm goes a little further west, the Laura goes a little further west, that's why you see the forecast in the low 90s, mid 80s on Thursdays, scattered thunderstorms. If that track does happen, then yes, I think that will happen. If it stays more east, I don't think it'll be near that much. And as I said yesterday, after that, on the departing side of storms, you have the sinking air and the warm temperatures, and that's why you're going to see the very warm temperatures this weekend. And most likely, you'll have some heat advisories issued. So if you have outdoor activities planned this weekend, be prepared for that because it's going to be uncomfortable. Now, at the light at the end of the tunnel, besides all the tropics, is that next week, mid next week, maybe late next week, we may see, and I hesitate to call it a fall cold front, but it'll be a decent cold front, to start off September. So this little hot push we have this weekend, it may be the last hot push we have. So, or really hot push, I should say. So let's cross our fingers on that. And of course, we couldn't forget the theme of the day. And so let's find out what that is. Pretty boring, right? Just sunny and hot. That's pretty much it. If you're in the far eastern parts of the if you're in far eastern parts of North Texas, you might see a scattered shower or thunderstorm, but I sure wouldn't count on it. And so, like I said, today's just going to be another summer day. I think tomorrow is when our weather really starts to change. And hopefully cooler and wetter for us, and hopefully for our buddies and friends in Houston and Louisiana that it will not be as bad as they say. But I will say, if you are down there, and this is for you, Miss Tally and Pam Milam, if you're down there, please be careful and don't stay because I think you need to leave. It's not going to be good. So be careful, be safe, whatever y'all do. If you're down there, you may not even be down there, all I know. For that, as always, I appreciate you watching. And of course, I'm watching the weather, so you don't have to. And I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you soon.